Coming up on today's show, I've got 2 soccer bets and 3 NBA bets for tonight. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jason Matters with Winning Bets. Thanks for hanging out with me on this episode, the Hump Day edition here of Winning Bets. We give out free sports picks every single day. Sorry, the video coming out a little bit later on today. The wife had some family in town from California, so this morning was family time and spending time with them and getting to see them and hanging out with them, so apologize for that. Let's go ahead and make sure we recap yesterday before we get on into today's bets. We got soccer and we've got some NBA bets to go ahead and get to. Yesterday we went 0-1-1. Our one loss was in the 76ers team total. They got blown out from the first quarter. They went down 22 points, and then they started doing some little things that were uncharacteristics. If you look at the box score, a little bit more turnovers than what they averaged per game. But the big thing was they just started jacking up threes. As soon as they started getting down, they started getting out of their offensive philosophy, and their three-point attempts were higher than what their season average is. So that was a little bit unfortunate that they got out of who they are, and subsequently they went down really early in that game and having to claw back, and they never really got back into that game. They did get back into it late, but it wasn't really back into that game per se. The Nuggets had that game in doubt, so that one tripped us up on that team total. And then our push of the day, we took the Atlanta Hawks +7. Well, that's exactly what that win margin was a 7-point win there by the Suns, so we got a push there. So obviously we just lost 1 unit on the day, losing that one bet there. As I said, we've got some soccer bets. We've got some NBA bets. Let's go ahead and jump on into them. Let's start with soccer because those bets are up first. I already went ahead and sent out a tweet and tweeted these out a little bit earlier this morning. I'm going to take 2 World Cup qualifier games. I'm going to take Austria and Denmark. I'm going to do those 2 clubs, both teams to score, and we're going to do that one at -107. And then in the England-Poland game, I'm going to take England to win to nil in that +100. Obviously, no Lewandowski in that game. Obviously, think that's one that not only England can win, but with no Lewandowski, they should really be able to control that Poland attack and be able to keep a clean sheet there. So really liking those 2 bets to set up our day and to really set up our night as we go ahead and get into the NBA action. We'll go ahead and give you guys one more soccer bet. It's a look ahead as Chelsea's playing West Brom. I've already gone ahead and bet Chelsea to win to nil, and that's at -122 over FanDuel. Look, Chelsea's kind of getting in the same situation as Manchester City. We've bet Manchester City a fair amount lately. We've won vast majority of those bets for Manchester City. But Manchester City, you always have to kind of get tricky in terms of how are you going to bet Manchester City, because the money line's crazy high. Even -1, even -1.5 with City can sometimes be unplayable. Well, those 2 numbers are unplayable here in this Chelsea game. You can't really take the money line. The -1.5, last time I looked, came in at -160, which is above my threshold. I know it's not too high above your threshold, but that is why you have to set your limits and you try and stay within that. So didn't want to go ahead and take that. But Chelsea win to nil obviously fits right into what I'm, in terms of the line-wise at -122. I have no problem taking that. And I know the reverse fixture was 3-3, but obviously this is a completely different Chelsea team. We know what they've been doing defensively since Tuchel took over. It's been absolutely remarkable. And West Brom, in 29 games, they've only got 20 goals. Like I said, 3 of those were against Chelsea, so you're really talking 28 games. They've got 17 goals against other opposition. I don't see how they can punish this Chelsea team when, Chelsea doesn't give up any goals to Atletico Madrid recently. It just really emphasizes how well this Chelsea team is playing defensively, and obviously they're getting just enough goals on the offensive, side to keep, racking up 3 points at a time. So just love Chelsea to keep a clean sheet and to get the win against West Brom. I didn't see this line improving, so I wanted to go ahead and already lock in on this one. Chelsea win to nil at -122 over at FanDuel. Let's go ahead now, jump on into these NBA games. 2 of these, or one of these I've already tweeted out. The other 2 will be new. The one I've already tweeted out are Kings. I'm going to go ahead. The Kings are playing the Spurs, and Kings are at +3. These 2 teams just played the other night. Kings won by 17. There's a reason they won by 17. If you look up all the stats, offensively and defensively, the majority of them favor the Kings. So I like the Kings to at least keep it close again. If not, probably pull out another victory here. If we look at the offense in the last 10, the Kings are first in field goal percentage. The Spurs are 12th. The Kings are 17th in 3-point field goal percentage. The Spurs are 21st. The Kings are 16th in free throw attempts per game. The Spurs are 20th. Both of them ranked 6th in turnovers per game. The Kings are 6th in points per game. The Spurs are 24, and it's 10 points more per game. It's not only, obviously, from a standings perspective, they're really far out, but yeah, the Kings are scoring 10 more points a game. And then the Kings will also hold a rebounding edge on the offensive side. The advantages largely in part spill over to the defensive side. In the last 10 games, Spurs are 24th in field goal percentage. Kings are right behind 26. 3-point field goal percentage, though, the Kings are better. They're ranked 15th, where the Spurs rank 25th. The Spurs ranked 15th in free throw attempts allowed. Kings right behind them at 18th. They're 27th and 28th in turnovers. They're both allowing 113 points per game. But again, another rebounding advantage will be on this side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, the Kings, again, will have the rebounding edge. So a team that scores more, they're more efficient on offense. They're obviously shooting the ball tremendously better. And then I think, obviously, from the three-point area, they're obviously a lot better from the Spurs. So that'll obviously help them out in this race. So, yeah, won by 17 the other night. There's no reason why they can't keep it close again tonight against the Spurs and maybe even pull out a victory. So have no problem taking the points at +3, and that's at -103 over a points bet. The next one I like here is Jazz versus the Grizzlies. I'm going to go ahead and take Jazz -5.5 at -110 over a FanDuel. These two teams played recently just the other week, and Jazz won both of those games. One of them was in a blowout. It was mid-teens, and then the other one was a relatively close game. If you look at the stats, though, when you compare these teams offensively, defensively, they tend more to be in agreement with the scoreline that was more in that mid-teens as opposed to the one that was, a couple possessions there. I think they won that game by 3 or 4 points. So I obviously know Mitchell's going to be out of this game. Shouldn't impact the Jazz. They've got plenty of scorers on the court, and they obviously bring it from a defensive standpoint each and every single night. So have no problem taking Jazz -5.5 here in this one to go ahead and beat the Grizzlies there. So I like that at -110 over a FanDuel. And then the next one I like here is in that Blazers-Pistons game. I like to take the Pistons team total over 106.5, and that's -121 over a points bet. Look, the Blazers defense in the last 10, they rank 29th in three-point field goal percentage allowed. They rank 30th in overall field goal percentage allowed. They rank 25th in opponents' free throw attempts allowed, and they rank 28th in points allowed, and they're allowing 116 points. The Pistons have hit this mark in 5 of their last 7 games. They're at home. They came off a relatively bad performance, so, got a bad performance out of the way, so maybe they can obviously have a good performance. And what better way to do it up against an opponent that, like I said, they are absolutely at the bottom of the NBA standings when you're talking about, defensive, guarding the opponent from a, percentage standpoint, whether it's 3-point or just regular old field goal percentage. The Blazers are at the absolute bottom of that. So, yeah, I think the Pistons can obviously get up over 106.5 points, so we'll go ahead and roll with that team total there. I don't have any NBA player props. It's a big NBA slate. There were some advantages. There were some guys already on Twitter that already tweeted out some numbers, and we've talked about how, these win margins, or not these win margins, the lines are just really sharp by these sports books. And when these guys tweet these numbers out on Twitter, and subsequently these books move the lines because, that they've, put this information out there, it moves it. It may only move it 1 point, whether it's a points, rebounds, and assist number, or whether it's just a points number, but moving it by 1 is really, really big. There's been so many times where we've lost, a player prop by 1, or we've just gotten a player prop by 1. So because not really seeing a huge amount of advantages, and then the couple that I did see that have already been given out, and now subsequently the line's been moved, I don't feel comfortable taking those numbers anymore. So no NBA player props for me today. I'm just going to roll with those 3 against the spread, or the 2 against the spread, and then that 1 team total, and we'll go ahead and roll it out with that on the heels of our 2 soccer bets that are going to cash this afternoon. I'm excited for tomorrow's show. MLB is back. I cannot wait for the MLB to come back. MLB is a sport that I follow a lot closer than basketball. Of the 3 sports that I follow, soccer is certainly number 1 in terms of what I follow. The NFL is number 2, and MLB is right there behind NFL at number 3. So excited to have MLB back. Should be a lot of good promotions going on from these sports books. Look forward to jumping on them. Look forward to starting it off. It'll be slow. I'm not one of these guys that'll come out of the gate swinging. I'll get a bet in tomorrow for sure. Maybe 1, maybe probably 2 tops. I've already started to look at the slate, of course. But, yeah, there's not going to be a whole slate of bets. We think we know what teams are going to be. You know, we can look at offseason moves. We can look at how teams performed last year. But the fact of the matter is, you know, just because you were good last year or bad last year doesn't translate into that maybe same success or not success in the following season. So I like to give it a couple weeks, let some of the data really, you know, get up in quantity, and then you can kind of see who's who, and then I'll increase the quantity there of Major League Baseball bets. But sure, we'll get some in tomorrow. I'm super pumped for baseball. Again, I'm really excited. Just not going to come out full on swinging, you know, in the first week, 2 weeks. I like to get a couple, maybe 2-3 weeks into it before we really start swinging, and we'll start cashing tons of MLB bets. So that's how we'll do it there. But yeah, excited. I've got something cool I want to announce on tomorrow's show in terms of Major League Baseballs and Major League Baseball bets. So I look forward to, you know, telling you guys about that. So we'll get all into that tomorrow there on tomorrow's show. It'll be a little bit baseball heavy, and we'll get in a couple baseball bets to go ahead along with it as well with the, you know, NBA slate that also is going on tomorrow. So there it is, guys. There's the Wednesday show. I hope you guys have a great, fantastic day. I'll see you guys at the normal time on Thursday's show, you know, early to mid-morning. We'll go ahead and get it out to you guys. We can sit back and cash some bets tomorrow. Okay, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching this episode of Winning Bets. I'm Jason Mattis. I'll see you again when we are celebrating the wins and making more winning bets. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more winning bets.